That's right, you are now listening to Tommy Tom's One Mic. Warning, this podcast contains explicit language, triggering or sensitive topics, and controversial discussions. Thank you so much for tuning in to Tommy Tom's One Mic.
I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Flip personality, you know it's I. You never seen my kind, never seen a fucking sliver or a slice. I'm the butcher, choice cuts, know I'm nice. You got beef? I got waggle with a knife. Now I'm gonna be wrapping up bodies up at night. Like Ray Charles, y'all know I'm out of sight. Now I'm gonna be slaying niggas, cause you know I love the life. Yo, you gotta read between the lines. I'm only gonna be moving when I'm read through all the signs. Johnny Mnemonic, I got an upgraded mind. This is for the rebels and their revolutionary minds. Cybernetic linguistics, you know I'm on my mind. Prototype the new dimension, man, that shit is mine. Future is creation and creation is sublime. Make your own legend, only happens with time.
Let's hit the mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tommy Tom and One Mic. I'm your host, Tommy Tom, and I got a very special guest with me today. Just happens to be one of my best friends and a very integral part in some of maybe your favorite TV shows. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dave Serignese, or as we lovingly call him, the Panda Bear. How you doing, Dave?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on, Tommy Tom. It's been a long time, my friend. It's nice to see your face in these trying times.
Yes, we haven't, we were talking prior before recording, you know, we haven't talked to each other in, well, we haven't seen each other in well over a year. For those who may not know, Dave and me we met freshman year in college, went to SUNY Cortland,
C-State?
C-State, and I believe the last time we saw each other was at MetLife Stadium for possibly the biggest Cortica game ever.
Hell of a time. I still don't know who won the game. I think we lost. I feel like we always lose. But hey, what's our motto? Win or lose, we still booze. It was a good time.
Yep. I was definitely praying to your porcelain god that next morning a lot. I don't even know how I got back to your place, honestly. I'll keep it 100. I took a cab back with AB and her husband. And I just got off with it anywhere. I was like, no, I'll figure it out. And I realized my phone had 10% on it. And I was like, oh, this ain't good. I think I know where I gotta go. I hope I know where I gotta go.
Oh.
Somehow I made it back.
Funny story about that. I get a text message right around the time I hear you stumble in from Rob Dash, AB's husband. And he's just like, yo, did Tom make it? I'm like, and I just, yeah. He's here. He goes, oh, okay, because he just got off the car. I was like, oh, my boy Tom's reckless, but he's smart. He's reckless yet smart. I don't understand.
I don't know how I've survived this far. I thought my 20s were bad. 30s have been fun, but I have those moments, these brief moments of, oh God, what did I do to myself? I'm not 20 anymore. But 20s were the good years with us, but you've gone on and gotten yourself I'd say fairly established. You're actually one of the few people I know who graduated and is actually using their degree.
Oh man, I'm very humbled and grateful by that, because I know a good majority of us, they aren't. I know a lot of our good friends, go to school for one thing, end up leaving, doing something completely different. So yeah, I'm very, very, very grateful for that.
Yeah, you might be the only person I really know that's. I guess our boy Hudson, technically, he's using that outdoor rec degree. But I mean, a lot of people, they go to college, they start doing, whatever they're focused in, and then they get out and they're like, oh, yeah, this isn't going to help me at all, or something. Enjoy your liberal arts major, buddy. See how far that gets you in life, essentially.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of one of those. There were quite a bit, very highly specified majors, enjoy your, it's like a language degree, a very ancient language, some of those type things. And while there are uses for them, I feel like that's just, it's more staying in education. It's just all right, cool, I'm gonna do this, and then I'll, might discover some stuff, and then I'll be a teacher.
Yeah, that's openly how it goes. I mean, I know people that I actually know people that switch from being cops to teachers or something like that. It's wherever you go, it's always got to be evolved just based on everything. But I mean, working in the entertainment industry and with this COVID thing, I know it definitely affected you greatly in the beginning, including your own health issues that you were going through and all that. I don't know if you want to talk about any of that.
Oh, for sure. I mean, yeah. So yeah, like you said, I work in post production. I'm a post production supervisor for reality television shows. Some on Viacom, some on Travel Channel. Does stuff for Discovery, HGTV, a couple of those. Just to name a few, not to name drop or anything, we just show a little bit of credential.
Oh yeah, let me pick that up for you. I'm sorry, is that Viacom? Yeah, let me. I'll hand that back to
you. But anyway, no, I worked my way up. But yeah, this past year was very different. I working in Manhattan, going to the city every day, suddenly that all just stopped. The company I was at, they kept me around for a bit, but unfortunately I got quote unquote furloughed like the rest of them, and with millions and millions of people, no work, being such a specified thing, while I was so grateful and humbled to actually continue on with, using my communications degree, to eventually get into TV. At that point, I was like, well, what do I do now? Because I was like, you just go through that moment. Do I know anything else? What do I do with these hands? And so it was definitely very scary. But luckily, I had done a good enough job where I was able to, get back on some rosters, if you will. And, now I'm right back at it. But it definitely wasn't always as easy to kind of like trying to get back in there. I was definitely scared for a while. I was definitely, I want to say from March to July, just every day applying whenever it came up. And, for a minute, nothing was coming up because you knew that like, we can't shoot, we can't do anything. There's no jobs coming. Everybody's shutting down. So, I'm right there with millions and millions of Americans and how all this went. I'm very, very fortunate that, I was able to bounce back in such a short amount of time. And I'm hoping, and I'm staying grateful, keep my fingers crossed that I can continue this bounce back. Because 2020 was a rough year, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of roller coasters, but I'm happy to say that, coming out on the better end of it. And not to say that it's over, because 2021's looking more the same. We're looking at the second half, folks.
Yeah, definitely a show. Now, I guess the simplified version of what you essentially do that you kind of explained to me, it was kind of like you make sure that it's like, I guess it's good to go onto TV.
Yeah.
Essentially. Like there's no copyrights, there's no
or
something like that.
It's hard to explain to some people what a post-production supervisor does if they're not familiar with like TV and things like that. So I try to put it in kind of the simplest way possible, in that I work with the executive producers and with the production teams and the network to help get the show delivered on time, without any legal flags, any, copyright infringement, things like that. And, and hopefully under budget or close to. And so, that entails wearing many different hats, my day starts usually with checking in on the team, on the production team, on post-production team, seeing where they're at in terms of their edits, seeing if there's footage coming in, routing that. I like to consider myself like an operator. Like a call comes in from the outside world and I go, oh, okay, you need person A need to talk to person B. Let me just take that plug, put it over there. Person C talks to person D. Cool, boom, put that plug over there. While at the same time making sure that like everything is, being put together. Again, I'm one of many people. There are a lot of many people above me. I like to consider myself middle management by all means. I have plenty of ways to go in the vertical. But at the same time, like, I do, hold my responsibilities dear, and like, I take it very seriously. Excuse me.
No, that's I can definitely attest to. Maybe I've known people longer, but I feel like we essentially both came into college at the same point, I guess, in our lives, where it's like, I got to figure out who I am now. You have that thing with people that you've known for most of your life, that they always have that kind of one view of you or something. So going to college, I feel like you and me both had that kind of same mindset. It's like, cool, this is a restart. And you're definitely one of the, like, it's not surprising that you're actually using your degree, because I could see you working on stuff and editing and all that pretty much out through college, that there's an actual, like, real focus in actually doing what you were doing.
Dude, that's much appreciated, because like to be honest, like I, much like everybody else, I was scared shitless. I didn't know what to do. Sorry, I didn't mean to curse. Sorry.
It's an uncensored show. I already marked the explicit. You're good.
Fair enough. Think about the sponsors, baby.
I'm not getting sponsored by the Bible here. Okay, I think you're good. I think you're good.
Fair enough. But like much like everybody else, man, I was shitless. I was scared shitless. I didn't know what to do. I actually ended up calling my BOCES teacher. For those who aren't familiar with BOCES, it's basically a trade school program partnership that was available where I grew up on Long Island, where for half the day I would go learn a trade or craft. So some kids would learn culinary, carpentry. I chose video production. And so, because, you know, at the time I was over here thinking I wanted to be in a band and a skateboarder and all this, but I was like, really, I was more into the tech stuff behind it, you know? And so I was like, well, I suck at playing bass and I'm too fat to skateboard. So I guess I'll pick up this video camera and this gear and learn how that works. And so that's how I kind of fell into it. And I always wanted to make music videos and stuff like that. But, you know, when I got out, I hit that teacher up. Shout out to Robin Cavalieri. I don't know if she's still in the game, but she was a great teacher. I learned a lot from her. And she put me in touch with a company out in East Long Island where I did weddings, mitzvahs, you know, all that stuff, corporate work for a company called Video Solutions in New York. I don't know if they're still around. I hope they are. Shout out to Jules Rodino. Appreciate him. He gave me my first gig. You know, it didn't end too well a couple of years down the road. He gave me the boot, but you know, it was fun while it lasted. It was one of those moments where, you know, you think you're trying to be big and he's just like, no, that's not how this works. You got it. I was like, fair enough. It was a fun 2 years. But at the same time, that was a kick in the ass that I needed, much like, again, like you said, like you're not surprised that I'm still with it. I've had many restarts and that was like one of them. Like after that, like, you know, year and a half, 2 years, while I was trying to be a Dominican hippie out here going to festivals and whatnot with all that money on the weekends, you know, he ultimately let me go. And that was like, oh, well, what are you going to do? Got to figure it out. And so, you know, and that's
one of those sink or swim mentalities, especially in the entertainment business, that you got to always kind of maintain, that it's like, you know, really the pandemic, I guess it caught a lot of people off guard. But if you're kind of in that entertainment business, and I don't consider it a slight towards other occupations, but you're always kind of on that edge that this could end like that. So you always got to keep the wheels turning and like in motion and like your eyes open for like anything.
Yeah, man, for sure. I've been at, you know, throughout because I started as an assistant editor at night, loading tapes. Then, you know, then I worked day, you know, working with the day crew, actually kind of learning, doing editing and little odd jobs like that, mainly just doing more important day duties. You know, I've been at certain companies where one day you got 13 shows and a blink of an eye, you got 2 shows. Next, you know, the doors are closed and I'm over here looking for new work. And so, and it's funny because now that I've been in the game, quote unquote, for, you know, close to 10 years in a regard, you know, it's, you're starting to see those people. Like when I got to Viacom to work on some shows that I'd already worked on for another company, but they were just kind of rebooting them. So when I got to this gig, I was in a production meeting with some of the other post supervisors from the shows, and one of the dudes recognized me, you know, and he just, hey, you look familiar. I'm like, yeah. You used to hire me all the time, dude. I was a mercenary. I used to come in and, you know, I used to work on like the MTV challenge shows. I would go in and like, you know, he'd give me the raw footage and he's like, all right, sync these 30 cameras. You got 18 people, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's do it. You know, I'd sit there at night and just, you know, bang it out, and did a lot of those odd jobs, like a lot of odd hours, like for almost 2 years. At the start of that, I worked 7 p.m. to about 5 a.m. And that was definitely rough too. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sitting in the office, I'm clicking away, and there's a lot of tougher jobs out there, and I know that, and I'm very grateful for what I do. But like, just to be up that long, and staring at the screens and being up and just commuting back and forth from the city to Long Island, like there were often times where I would fall asleep and wake up at the end of the line. Um, and my then girlfriend, now wife, she'd be calling me all frantic and worried, and she'd be like, "Oh my God, where are you?" I was like, "I passed out. I'm in Long Beach again. My bad." She's got to drive like she's got to drive like fucking 20 minutes out the way to come pick my ass up. And I was like, ironically, it would happen on Fridays when they gave up beer. And I'm like, nah. I was like, it happened on Tuesday the other week. It's not just on Fridays.
It's a whole process thing. Like I remember, and I was joking with you. I think like first major thing really was you recording the Jets practices when they were doing training camp back in the Mark Sanchez days of the Jets. Well, age
oh, let's get a snack. Let's get a goddamn snack. That was a hell of an experience, man. That was fun. Yeah, I was very fortunate to get that internship type deal through Cortland. Basically they took like the top couple kids from each department that fit what they were doing and just gave them a job for the summer. And so I was with the video crew. I was like, it was during the same year they were on Hard Knocks, and that was pretty cool because I actually found myself in one of the episodes. You see my chunky butt running in the back. I was like, oh, that's me. That's amazing. But overall, it was a cool experience. They went and they had me videotaping practices as well as bringing the footage back and chopping up highlight reels and then putting them on the website and stuff. Very quickly, they saw my strengths in posts and just kind of having a natural knack for being able to like figure out the different types of cameras and the software and everything like that. And it was cool. It was cool to get that start. It was definitely an experience that I wouldn't take back. And it's one of those, I wish I would have pursued it a little bit more in the sense of trying to follow up and getting more sports gigs, because I definitely thought that could have been an avenue for me. I mean, I will say that on the interview on the phone with them, they asked me, are you a Jets fan? As passionate as we want you to be about the work, like, we just don't want somebody who's a fan that's going to be running around the players. And I said, sir, I don't know as much as this may or may not hurt my chances of getting the gig, but I bleed blue, a New York Football Giants fan. Like, that's who I am. And he laughed. I chuckled, and about like a day later, I get the call like, hey, yeah, they liked you. You're in. And so it was cool. It was cool. It was definitely a good experience. It was, I would definitely, hey, Jets, call me.
I'm still open to it.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm in post now, but I managed the fuck out of your schedule. Let's go.
But you always had I think from the first time I met you, you always had a great deal of love for movies and music and stuff. Like you always were, and people can't see the video, you were always legally downloading movies, to
allegedly.
No, you're always like checking out different movies and all that. I have my own unique taste in music, but we were always like exchanging music back and forth and all that. But it was always like something in that realm. And it's like, yeah, you're definitely going to be doing something with that and whatnot.
No, that was a fun time. I feel like when we met in college, we had similar tastes. We were into the different genres in a lot of ways, but also for me, like I felt like the first time interacting with you, it was one of those, oh wait, here's another POC who grew up in a rural type area. You would upstate New York, we like, so I wouldn't say mine was more suburban, obviously Long Island, but like obviously, the chocolate chip, if you will, mentality. But also it's like, oh, this dude's the same as me. And he's like, oh, and it was at that moment, it's like, you can look like you, but also like these things. And it's because you weren't afraid to be like, yeah, I fuck with Stevie Wonder. Yes, I fuck with this Motown, while at the same time, I still like all the same stuff that all my friends in that area were listening to. And so, meeting you allowed me to bring up that because I was like, yeah, oh, I like salsa, Tom. listen to this. Listen to this Hector Low. Let's get down.
I think the first met, like, for those that don't know, and once again, gonna age us again, like, our freshman year, they gave, I don't know if they still do this, they gave, like, the social media, like, this is your MySpace. Yeah, we had MySpace.
Yeah.
We were in college when Facebook was first becoming a thing. It was like, what's this Facebook thing? Like, well, that was us over a decade ago.
I'm over here. I'm hanging out with Tom. What's this book face thing?
Yeah, but like, I think we were looking at the pictures and all that, and I think you hit me up. Like, hey, I'm going to be your roommate. And I think the first question was like, you really like scary kids scaring kids? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, it was like, all right, cool. And that was like the gist of our conversation before, like, we actually got to meet face to face at the college.
Oh, dude, because much like Betty, 17-year-old, you grow up in your bubble. You think like only what exists is in your bubble, and then it quickly gets bursted, and you meet other people from other parts of the world with the same interests. Your mind gets blown, and it was a wonderful experience. So, like I said, like, meeting you allowed me to just kind of like flourish even more and be like, yo, I do like these things, and I'm comfortable telling other people that, like, yeah, I like these things because I mean him, he rocks with it. I mean, these other people, they rock with it, and like that was just kind of one of those, yay, college.
No, it was a fun time and all that. Like I said, it's not surprising you are where you're at. You know, there's definitely the dedication and the focus to actually get stuff done. There were plenty. I mean, we were roommates freshman year, and then like housemates for like, I believe your last 2 years, minus that half semester.
Dude, but that half semester though, I felt like we were both on our own grind. Like, even though you were on the other side, living on the other side of town, all to mine. Just like I was working on the short film, we were trying to wrap up too, and we were just like, all right, cool, this has been fun, but it's ready. It's time to move on. It's time to move on, you know.
You know, it's like, yeah, we had the different mentalities. Yeah, I think what worked is that while we may have lived together, we also did our own things at times. And then it would just be like the end of the night, come back together, and be like, all right, cool. What'd you do? All right, cool. This is what I did. It's like that little comparison thing of, all right, cool.
What adventures you get to do? Oh, this is fun. This is cool. No, we always had a good, and I think that was important about the first year. It was you, me, and our buddy Eric. We always had a good kind of balance of like, hey, we didn't
feel like we had to be
we interact, but we also kind of do our own thing, and that was good too, because I remember, you know, in the 10 years since I went to college, I don't know, I doubt it's the same, but like I feel like, you know, when we went out of the dorms and into like the off-campus housing type deals, like there were some people that like got closer because of it, but only within their house, and that was it. And there were other people that like didn't really gel with anybody else, but got closer with everybody else, you know. But us, we kind of had that good balance of like, you know, doing our own thing, but also having events and doing things together.
Like, I'll give a good example of this. So one day, Dave and our other roommate Eric, they were going out, and Dave just, before they go, Dave said, "Hey Tom, when I come back, we have a drink idea for us to drink tonight." So he just throws that out. Now, Dave knows, but he doesn't realize. He knows, but he doesn't know that I'm a fucking savage. And when you put forth a challenge to me, I take it to an extreme. Thus, I started Drink of the Week. And I pretty much made up an entire schedule for each week, a different highlighted mixed drink.
You're very strict about it. We all had orders. It was like, this is your week.
Yeah.
Don't fuck it up.
You figured out what we're doing. That was a debauchery. Oh, the 20s.
20s were good times, but at the same time, though, on those days where I was stressing over assignments and projects on figuring out what to do and how am I going to do this? How am I going to, you know, Dr. K gave us this ridiculous thing. I got to go on the radio. I've never been on that. Like, yo, you were there, my guy. So I appreciate you. Say that from the world. Appreciate you, bud.
For record, one of us graduated. Other didn't. But the one that graduated, I consider myself half. I consider.
Nah, it's a team win, though.
Like to take partial credit.
It's a team win. I definitely wouldn't have gotten across the finish line without you guys for sure. But I like to think of those as like those were the trial and error years. Like as we sit down, record this, and talk about those times, I'm like, yeah, I had to do all of those dumb things so I could get my proverbial shit together and work because like just to get to that point where I was lucky enough to load tapes at night for those shows. Like, there was a lot of work I had to go in and had to stop all that foolishness, because that is one message that I do want to make very clear, that you cannot do both. You cannot. Very few have tried, very few have succeeded. You cannot live both. At one point I had to say, hey, I can, because as you said, we always had the different taste in music and stuff like that. But, I love going to live shows. For those who don't know, like going to live shows is a very big hobby of mine. Spent way too much money, all types of music. But at one point it's like, yeah, you can't do the Thursday shows anymore. We're done. Can't do that anymore. Can't do Sunday nights. Got to go to work in the morning. And it was those are the sacrifices you had to make. And like, it's very real what they say. For all the potential college kids listening, it's very real what they say.
I think I make the joke. It's like, it's called the Raging 20s. I call it the Raging 20s just because that's usually the years that you're starting, hopefully, for most, you're escaping from home. You're out. You're unleashed.
Definitely.
You're just going crazy. And now in the 30s, it's like the dirty 30s, because I'm looking back in my 20s like, damn, glad Twitter doesn't exist back then. Jesus.
Oh, no, if Twitter existed, I don't think I ever would have got the job. Even though I'm pretty sure it did exist while we were in, it just wasn't that big. And I know I wasn't on it like that. But at the same time, like if it was in heavy rotation and we were early adopters type deal, like it would have been game over for us folks. But at the same time, I think, like I said, we all matured from those situations. We all grew to be better people. I mean, like I say it all the time. If the moments that we had throughout that time, like allowed me to be able to see from A to D. Like if I hadn't experienced those times with you guys, I'd never been able to be like, oh, this is the big picture. These are the goals. This is what I have to get to. And like, these are the things that I have to do in between to ultimately get to said goal. And then between you guys and like solid professors like Dr. K, Carolyn Cultiflatter, shout out to her. We've learned a lot and was able to kind of really take all of those heavily inebriated experiences mixed with a little bit of education and travel off into the world. So,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Dr. K is not a big fan of me. Just because
you're the hard woman to please.
Dropped out of college. I had one of her classes and I was trying to drop it, and she's like, I'm not going to drop you from it. And
I like to think, though, if she saw what you're doing now with everything, she'd probably be pretty impressed.
Probably.
Like, yeah, you don't need a degree. She definitely put me into shape, dude. It was one of her classes, you had to go on the radio, and I was scared to death. And it was like talking about the evolution of social media and how it started, and talk about the history. And like, I remember cramming through, and I feel like it was one of the ones where I blacked out on the radio. Like she asked me a question, I just took off with that answer, and then come back and you killed it. Just like, never again. But thank you so much for pushing me.
I think the thing that got me in college was like the person I met that made me ultimately go to Cortland in the professional writing program. He went off to Buffalo maybe sophomore year, and he was the one that really like introduces the idea of social stuff. Like he was the first one I knew that was doing a digital class where you would go on and get an avatar and shit like that. And he was the one that was like really he's like, all right, you got to get an iPod. We're going to film stuff. We're going to show you how to upload and do stuff like that. And it was like, okay, I get all this. And then he's gone. And I think I was the only one, at least in the coming in, that was still a professional writing major. There was only like a few of us, and the other ones, they all either transferred off or just went for straight English degrees.
Yeah, no, we definitely went to a university that didn't specialize in our education, which is something that I think makes our experience that much more unique.
Mm-hmm.
That ended up in the international dorm because both of us, just didn't fill out the form in time.
No, I filled out the form. I thought you actually had to choose a fucking dorm that they gave you on this list. For those listening, what happened was they send you a list of like dorms and all that. It's like, oh, you pay 15 or something a week, like a month or something for like special things or whatnot. And I thought when they sent the list, it's like, oh, you have to choose one. I was like, all right, well, I'll just choose this one, not realizing that it was like actually the international dorm. And I actually got there, I think, like a few days before, because I signed up to do like early arrival, and all I had to do was help people move in. And that's when I realized it's like, oh, I'm like the only American here right now. We got the French, Japanese, the Australians. We got all this plethora of different people. Oh shit! I think I fucked up. Whatever. I personally, you know what? Whitaker all the way.
I mean, honestly, to me, it was it was a blessing in disguise type deals because of the fact that, for me, I filled it out late, and the ones I wanted to get to up on the hill, but I ended up in a place that not only gonna meet you and some other people that we end up being, friends to this day with, but dude, that was a sick door. We got our own bathroom. The rooms were bigger than everybody else. And like we were by the student union and all the things that were closer. So like honestly, to me, that was the fit. That was the move.
Well, then we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna dive in a little more into our college years. And now, as we've gone older, you have become a domesticated panda, as I like to joke and play with you about. And further established me as the degenerate of all my group of friends. But we'll be right back after this. And we're back. Again, I am Tommy Tom, and I'm here with my boy Dave, my first college roommate, reminiscing a little, talking about those 20s. And
the good old days. The good old days.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, how's your foot, Dave?
Oh, this guy, for those with millions out there, imagine put this out there. But yes, I had the terrible habit. I was that dude going to school in central New York, dealing with that Great Lake effect. There was snow and ice everywhere, folks, everywhere. And your boy would go down every semester. But who jinxed it? No other than Tommy Tom, other than a great comedian. This guy has unbelievable jinxing power. Do not cross him. Do not cross him. I assure you, folks.
The backstory of this is what you have to remember. Dave is a Long Island boy coming up to upstate New York.
I'm a city bear, dog.
Where it is, he's just chilling, out in Long Island, and he's like, "What is this fucking snow and ice and all these? Why there's these tractors picking up snow?"
Dude, I'd never seen it before. We were on a class with snow to our knees. It was wild for me. That was such a culture shock.
It was. And Dave always had this worst habit of finding some black ice or something, falling and fucking up his foot. And just followed him for many years. Many years. Every winter. It was like, Dave, you fall yet? And you still got the boot, don't you? You still got the boot somewhere.
Sorry, he's a bitch, this guy. I mean, yeah, listen, listen, I wasn't a healthy bear. All right, I was on a path that was headed straight for the graveyard. I didn't know back then. It also really caught up to me in my late 20s, but I did not live a good life. Did not have the best balance in the world. But since then we've gotten together. We don't fall no more. As to quote the great Jeremy Piven in Old School, I got out. But at the same time, I appreciate you guys for being there. Some class acts, always getting the, being enough, Central New York, upstate to me. We've plenty of snow around, plenty of free ice, as I like to call it. I would also
free ice, yeah.
Get the ice.
To be fair, I did get you did get a little payback with me being a fucking idiot. That one time, one of the buildings, you go downstairs and you can go into the bottom floor. So there's like a little drop. Going to class one day, I see Dave and a couple of our friends, we'll refer to them as the 40 Homer crew. And my dumbass is like, oh, I'm just going to jump down and say hi. I jump off this ledge, land there, and I just kind of stick the landing, and I could tell, and I forgot who said, somebody's like, oh, you fucked yourself up. I'm like, no, I'm good. And I try to walk it off, pretending I fucked up my ankle bad. And if you've never been to Portland, I kind of felt Dave's pain, because if you've never been to Cortland, everything is uphill for the fucking college. The college is like on top of this like mountain.
Everything.
It felt like sometimes. And you had to walk up to get to it. And of course, we had a house at the bottom of the hill. And I just like, oh, the next couple mornings, it's like, oh, fuck. I gotta go to class. I gotta get my way up there. It's like, oh, I fucked myself up. And I had to just play it cool because I couldn't let Dave know. Because this is like the moment he had been waiting for. And it wasn't, and I didn't have the excuse of it being winter. It was like spring. So I was just a dumbass.
I'm just trying to be cool.
Parkour.
Oh man, yeah, but no, that uphill struggle, man.
That's rough.
I remember going. I want to say it might have been 2 or 3 years after we graduated. I took Liz up. I took Liz, my girlfriend now wife, shout out Liz, lovely girl. Took her on our anniversary. I wanted to take her to like the Lake area, and show her all the stuff I had to go. I was like, oh, let's detour to Cortland. Show the old stomping grounds. I was like, oh, it'll be cool to walk around. And I immediately remembered about the hills. I was like, this is not fun. I was like, I'm older now. I'm not. What is this? Why are we doing this? Why did you put? And then I instantly remembered. I was like, you put the only good food at the top of the hill. You sons of bitches. But at the same time, appreciate it. You made me work for it.
It's. I look back on that, and it's like so funny. Like Cortland's essentially a teacher school. A lot of people go there to become teachers and all that. Of course, Dave and me, our dumbasses clearly didn't do the research.
No,
on that.
You did not do the research. I will admit this.
You said like, oh, they got a program. I was like, oh, I like writing. They got an actual program called professional writing. I don't have to write like a fucking acceptance thing or something to try and get into the program. I can just apply. All right, I'll go with that. Actually, it was funny because after I got accepted, my old social studies teacher, I was sitting in the study hall in high school, and he's like, oh, you're going to Cortland? I was like, yeah. And he just kind of pauses, looking at me. He's like, that's a pretty big party school. I was like, oh, okay.
That's how you found out?
And yeah, he was right.
He was. But I feel like for us, because it wasn't catered to us, because the educational programs weren't catered to us, we really had to make the best of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we really had to, we're partnering with y'all, and we're getting those in. Don't worry about that. But at the same time, we are making sure that we're working every avenue we can on the educational front to maximize that. I know you took a bevy of courses, to try to get it all out of the way as close as you could, as close to the finish line. I didn't quite make it. I get it. But like me, myself, like I had to literally go and do an independent study just to say, hey, I got to go make a short film. I need to leave here. Because at the time, my dumbass thought I was trying to be a filmmaker and all that, didn't quite work out. Not to say, not to say that it can't happen still. I'm still a young guy, but, just at the time, the goals were very high. I thought I was out here trying to get Oscars and, living in the clouds. I'm like, I need a short. I need something. You're
going to be the Brown Scorsese.
Yeah, I was like, I need something to change the world. And, I had to go back and I had to make it. But, because the school didn't offer those things, because I had to go and do an independent study and put in all that work, that just laid the groundwork for those experiences down the road. When you find yourself against the wall and you're just like, oh, wow, I totally, lied to get in this interview and now I'm here and I got to do the work and I don't necessarily know how to hit the buttons, but I got to figure it out. Remember that time you didn't know how to hit the buttons in college? You got to figure it out then. You can figure it out now. And like that's
essentially, it's that working with less made it like, oh, okay, now that I am actually getting shit.
Yeah.
It's so much easier. I'm used to working with less. So now you're giving me everything I need. Cool. I can do this.
Yeah. Like that, the senioritis project we did.
Oh yeah.
That was a fun thing where me and a couple buddies made the documentary taking over the storefront. You came through with the Lego mansion as part of the art installation. It was the replica of Old Main, which was dope. A lot of comments on that. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it looks just like Old Main." I'm like, "Yeah, you put a lot of time into that, dog." And like that was, and that was the type of stuff we had to do.
Let's keep it real. I did not put in a lot of time into it. I did a lot of drugs into it. I've LSD, baby. That's all I'll say. LSD opens your mind. I do not condone the use of using LSD. I'll just say, for me, it awoken something. I don't know what. My brain just started making sense of how to build stuff, and I already had the OCD that I have to color coordinate shit. So
it woke the artist in you, baby. It was the artist. It was a phenomenal piece of installation. That was a fun thing. It was, we had the bands playing, had the art upstairs, the motion stuff downstairs. It was a good time, and I was happy to be part of it. But yeah, we had to do that to get that education, to do that, to use that down the road, and that was a great experience. So, drug induced or not, appreciate it.
You know what? I'll put myself on blast since I got you with the foot thing. So after I got my second DWI,
going deep cuts.
After I was released from jail, I went over to Dave's house where he lived with one of our other good friends, Mr. Matt Hudson, and I just looked at him and was like, all right, I'm not calling my parents today. I'll call them tomorrow. So, as a recurring theme, I did get myself some LSD. And poor Dave had to was our driver for the day and drove us to our rival town. And we went to Cortland, to Ithaca, which is like really a more hippie kind of like.
It was more a vibe, let's be honest. We liked it a little bit more, but then again, we clearly established that we were not part of the norm of Portland, so
yeah. And we went over there, and the entire drive, Hudson and me are just like, yo, and we're just looking out windows and like this, and Dave just sitting there, he's like, I hate you motherfuckers. I hate you motherfuckers so much. He's like, you guys are having so much fun, and I gotta drive.
You know what? At the time, it was all jealousy, but deep down, I was more than happy to be that friend, to be like, you know what? I'm not going to partake. I will be the sober one. I will drive us down. I will provide you guys with the environment that you need to have in order to, have a successful journey, because I understood, where you guys, what show you guys were in line for. So, I was happy to be there for you. But yes, at the time, of course I was jealous. Of course, 20-year-old Dave was jealous. He wanted to be right there with you.
Yep, that was when we got our tapestry. We started our tapestry thing, and we made a fort upstairs leading to your room.
Like a bunch of big old kids. Out here playing with Legos and tapestries, having snack time. It was like the Chappelle skit. And Mickey and Mouse came, and we had cookies, and we danced for hours.
But I think that's what kind of worked with you, Hudson, and me, and that we maintain that like kid mentality of just having fun. Like, I think one of the things like I always had a problem when like I came home or something is like going out to like the bar or something. A lot of people's focus is like, especially for guys, it's like, yo, I'm going pussy hunting. That's my main focus or something. When we went out, I was like, all right, dude. Car bomb? Yeah. We're gonna have some fun. All right. It's like,
I think it was more about camaraderie for us.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna hang out. We just want to have fun or something.
Yeah, if my night takes that left, it takes that left. If it takes the right, it takes the right, And I think that's what always made it a good crew, because I do hear you, because I mean, for me, the change is more or less when I came back after that first year, when I was that dude. Because after that first year, I came back, I was like, let's party. But like all my high school friends who were still my friends, some of them were in my wedding party, much like yourself. Like they were, they looked at me, they're like, Dave, we don't party. What are you doing? And then, they checked me real hard, and I came back, and then it became a different kind of party.
Many parties in the woods and all that, just bringing the royal thing. I probably tried to party too much probably led to my little downfall. But like as you discussed, you gotta take those bumps, take those lickings sometimes just to fucking come out the other end better.
Sometimes you just gotta take those L's and keep it moving. There were a lot of dumb, reckless decisions that I made, during that time that you just learn from. And I mean, even coming up in the game, like thinking I could live one lifestyle, that showed up the next night all tired and shit, not being able to get it together, but ultimately getting it together and all that. I think that it's important. I'm happy that we're talking about this. I think it's important to know that, like, for all of those who are going through those times right now, especially like during COVID, when you necessarily go to school for like 3 weeks, spend it in your dorm, and then don't go anywhere, and then come back, and like a lot of that's being taken away from you, and you're almost kind of forced to look forward. It's just kind of like, it's important to note that, like, you still got to enjoy a little bit, take those lickings. COVID's part of that licking a little bit, and then keep it pushing, keep it moving.
Now that is true. That is something, like, one of the big things I noticed when I came home, and this isn't a slight to like my friends that didn't go to college or anything like that. Yeah. Cal State, they got way bigger bank accounts than I do, or anything like that. But you can also see a different mentality. I think, I don't want to say that they just settled for what was there or whatnot, but it's kind of like there's a different drive.
Mm-hmm.
There's a different drive and all that. It's like, and it's a different experience. How they push people. Like, I know a lot of people who had kids young and all that, and now I see them kind of showing the same things that I would act out on when I was in my 20s and all that, because they didn't get that college or that like loose experience or something. They just went to the local college, made the best of their lives that they could, and you know what, infinitely stronger than myself in many areas and all that. But I also see that a lot of reasons that they talk to me or something is because I've gone through that part of my life. Took me well over a decade after college and all that just to get my shit together. And like actually exactly a decade, probably, because it was like 28 when I first started doing stand-up. And then it's just like, you kind of have that realization of there's the things you say that you're going to do, and then the things you're actually going to do.
Oh, and that's always been 1,000%.
That's always been my biggest thing. Like, what always bothered me with people is like them saying they're going to do something and then they didn't do it. And when I realized it had nothing to do with them, it was about me.
Yeah.
Because I was being a hypocrite because I had all these ideas and shit, but I never followed through with them.
Yeah.
And I had to get my DWIs, get to the jail, go to rehab, and all this other shit. That eventually just be like, I need to change this. And it just took one of my hometown's friends just being like, hey, I'm going to the city. I want to try and do stand-up. And me just going there to just support them. And then almost 5 years later, it's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Infinitely happier and like focused so much more. And like, now I can actually back up my words. I'm not full of shit when I say, no, you got to do something and all that. And I see people reach out to me now about stuff and all that. They like, I get those random things of like, how do I get into stand-up? I'm like, just do it. Find a mic, go there or something. It's like, oh, but I don't want to bomb and all that. And I'm just like, well, then you don't really want to do stand-up.
Yeah. No, too, for sure. No, I feel like when it comes to that, you're gonna bomb. You gotta take the lumps and all that. And at this point, I've done enough fucked up shit that it's like, I don't care. I think that's always been a thing. Probably not just with stand-up, with anything. Is if you're scared of failing or something, you're never gonna actually achieve anything. You have to be able to address that. No, for sure. I never thought in a million years that and again, not to say that I made it to the top of the mountain, because there's plenty more for me to climb, and very, like I said, very much middle management and reality TV. But at the same time, like, sorry, what was your question? We got to edit this one. This is a hard edit. We made it so good.
Yeah, this is gonna be a hard edit, but I might leave it just for the fucking fun of it. Just
You son of a bitch. No, because you were making a point about kind of like, taking your lumps and kind of being back against the wall, taking the L's, and I was trying to like hit a point about like how
I was pretty much saying that you have to have those failures to actually grow and become something.
Yes, okay. Got it. And here's where it was, and we're gonna edit, and you put that one back in. Boom. Get that edit point back in here, bitches. No, I'm just kidding. But no, one of those points was that, like I was saying earlier, when I got out, started doing the weddings, mitzvahs, corporate and everything, I was let go of those years, and I hit that moment where it's just like, damn, you got fired. You didn't think that was gonna happen. You got fired. For all those who was listening, when you think you have that hubris, you think you're in a position. No, they will replace you right quick and in a hurry. And that happened to me. And on the way home, you're having that freak out moment. Holy shit, where's that money gonna come from? Blah, blah. But you quickly, you gather yourself. It's gonna be all right. You figure it out. And long enough, I got a gig on a documentary that I never thought I'd find myself working on, and then it parlayed into other things. And that's one of those that, like, yeah, you take those lumps and you just keep on pushing, keep grinding. Because if you stop, like, you will never reach your full. You'll never know. You won't ever reach that full potential. You always have to keep going. No matter how many times somebody tells you no, somebody tells you you're not good enough. Somebody tells me you're not funny. You suck at your job. You just keep going, because you're gonna find some other people that are gonna think they know you are funny. You are good at your job. You are of worth.
You can't think that this is the end all be all with everything. Yeah.
For better or worse, there's always another side, baby.
Mm-hmm. Hey, shit, I was sitting in a fucking jail cell with a Velcro dress because I made a bad joke at the wrong time when I got arrested the last time. And I was just like, they're like, so do you have any thoughts of harming yourself or anything? So I was like, I don't really have anything to live for. And, that
bad joke.
Not the best thing to say. That was my first bomb before I ever got into comedy. That was my worst one.
First bomb. Hell of a bomb. That's a hell of a strikeout.
Hell of a bomb. But I did want to, and I purposely didn't talk about this in our pre-talk, want to talk about your wedding. 2019 was a 10 year for me.
Son of a bitch. No, and I don't mean it in a bad way. It's a great day, but I don't like surprises. I don't like that. But I'm ready for it. Let's go.
I get you there. No. This isn't like really like a question, stuff like that. I just wanted to make a statement because it's 2019. Everybody's like 2020 is like the worst year ever. But I will say 2019 was fun because I got to see two of my best friends get married, you and Hudson, those college years and all that. I have no qualms in saying I'm very open with it, maybe to the chagrin of some of my hometown friends. It's like, I feel like I'm closer to my college friends than I am with my hometown friends sometimes. Most times. Let's keep it 100, There's like certain ones that I still hang out with. Keenan, if you've ever seen my comedy, you have heard plenty of Keenan jokes. That's my black muse, as I say. But I don't think you guys understood like what it meant that you guys like actually wanted me as a groomsman for your guys' wedding. It was kind of like a culture shock. And it's like, oh shit, because I know all your guys' hometown friends and stuff and all that. So it's like, oh, sure. And I've known your relationship because you would bring a bunch of them that would come to visit you in college.
Oh, so Corticas. I was that dude. I was the dude that's bringing like 7 heads to Cortica.
Yeah. So it's like, it wasn't like, I wasn't unfamiliar. We're all familiar with each other and all that. And it was just like, because you had to do the groom duties. So you didn't get to see like some of the things. So it's like, oh yeah, I heard so much about you. But like I would hear that from people. I was like,
I was just gonna say it was an interesting time having you because again, like it was a very small gathering. We weren't blessed enough to have a large wedding, but at the same time, I couldn't think of like 3. I had to pick like 3 people throughout the phases of life. Like I had one hometown, I had, then I had the Cortland, and then I had the one after. I was like, these are the guys. These are the guys that helped me become the man I am today, to be able to stand in front of that woman and say, I do, to be like, I'm that dude. So like, hell yeah, dude, I had to have you there.
It was like similar conversations at yours and Hudson's wedding, where there was some family members who are like, oh, go give a speech. But I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it at yours because I saw your best man speech, because for some reason he was like, hey, I heard you're a writer. I want you to look over my speech for me. I don't know where he got that idea. I don't know.
I don't know where he, heard me help,
and all that. So I already got to see his speech and all that. I was like, I'm not gonna go in there. It's like, I'm doing stand up. This is for them. This is for the people there. Let the tears come and all that. I'll just be making jokes on the sideline, just doing my thing, fucking with your dad the entire time, and you're just like, he's gonna hit you.
Oh, dude, no, I appreciated you for being able to attend and all that. It was a great time to have it at the restaurant. Also, shout out to the Bonnie. A lot of free plugs. If you're ever in Astoria, check them out. 23rd Avenue. I don't have the exact address on hand, but the one and only Chef Nick. Great time. But it was an even better time to have you there because, as Tiger's daddy would say, it was a culmination. It was a culmination of, all of the years past and looking forward, to the years in the future and all that. And like, I couldn't think of a better crew to have me with me, and I needed you there because like, for the most part, your boy was cool and like he was calm and collected and everything. The emotions were in check. It was a very emotional day. I wasn't trying to show it. And you were there to crack the jokes. You were there to provide that comedic relief, which is what we always, have loved and endeared you for. And it was much needed, especially when we were standing in line on the way to walk out. And you said something. I don't remember what you said. It was just a smart ass comment. And it was just something that just broke my own train of thought and got me out of my own head, which is something that, like, you've always been able to do in the most positive of ways. And I was just like, this motherfucker Tom, that was funny. All right, let's do this. You boys get married. Let's get out there.
I know how to dance that line of just being a complete asshole, but it's just so stupid what you're. I believe, I think I have a very special picture for when I actually up for you. I will definitely be getting a call. It's like, you son of a bitch.
I hope it is a certain. You know what? I'm so happy that allegedly. I'm just gonna say that if it is a certain picture that I'm thinking of with a certain coat, then like, you know what? By all means, if that's my introduction to the world, then like, hey, I think I need to be a recurring guest on this podcast.
Now, I actually got a good picture of the two of us. We'll say it's a Halloween picture.
Even better, my man.
No, but like, it was definitely fun. I don't know, like, I felt like I'd gone through enough weddings that for years in Hudson's, I was like, all right, I'm on my game.
I felt like we were the life of the party at Hudson's wedding, because Hudson's wedding, for, being up in Saratoga, Olympic Training Center, was beautiful. Man, had the ceremony on like this beautiful balcony with like a tremendous view, all these wonderful things. Like, once we got to the actual celebration, it was a little timid, but it was also during the day. And then you and I, we just started bringing it all in. I remember at one point we had an improv to sway that was quickly bitten by an unnamed fraternity, unnamed brotherhood.
The Dick Riders. I'll say it. I ain't got no cares.
The originality was stolen out the room.
It was pretty white. Until Dave and his wife got up there. It's pretty white. And I was definitely the life of the party there. The note that came was the Tuckers both like being like, Tom, you're like the last person out and the first person up. I was like, yeah, I got responsibilities. I was like, my friends clearly hate me, making me a groomsman. I got responsibilities I got to take care of. I take this shit seriously. I'm going to have fun too while I do it.
Dude, you are the ultimate groomsman. You are groomsman for hire.
I'm not Kevin Hart. I'm not the best man, but that's too much responsibility. Then I got to actually give a speech and all that. I'm just a fun guy chilling.
Dude, that was a fun wedding though, to go upstate, be up in the mountains and all that again. That was a lot of fun. And then to hang out afterwards and go into the town. That was kind of interesting to see how they party. And then it quickly reminded me of Hooley's, then turned study hall, then turned who knows what it is now. It just reminded me of all that, and it was a good time. But it was definitely fun. I'm happy that we've been able to keep that. Keep those couple people in that and be able to share that, as well as invite others in to the circle.
I will get Dave one more jab. I'll give one more jab to Dave. Has a fun. So day before Dave's wedding, let's just say Dave allegedly, as he likes to say, may have gotten a little toasty. We'll just do that. We'll just make that noise. I think that's the best way to describe it. A little. So after the rehearsal dinner and all that, Hudson, our boy T-Vaz, and me, we go out to the bars. And you're like, yeah, I'll catch up with you guys later. And it's getting a little late. And I'm looking at my phone. I'm like, I almost want to tell him, dude, you got a wedding tomorrow. Don't do it. I got to be responsible. But at the same time, it's his wedding tomorrow. Yes, we gotta come out. We got to let this guy come out. And you came out. You hung out with us for a while till almost 3. And you left. You're like, I got to get my hair cut at 8 tomorrow. As soon as you left, I just looked at them and was like, that motherfucker isn't getting up for shit. He ain't getting up to get his hair cut at 8. That's not happening. Sure enough, the next morning we go over, your uncle's there. He's like, yeah, I had to fucking call up and all that. He wasn't up for that. I was like, I just looked at Hudson and T-Vaz. I was like, I knew that was coming. I knew that. Called it.
It was real embarrassing, but it was real embarrassing. I did not wake up for my call time. It was real unprofessional, but I did, rally, come through. They lined me up real quick. It all got taken care of. I showed up game day 5 minutes early, because if you're on time, you're late. I learned that. All right, I was ready to roll. So I know you want to take this jab with me right now. Let me go ahead and deflect.
That was just a little jab, and enjoying your dad to kill that photographer. The entire. Wait, that's right. What was the photographer's name?
Yo, my man, Don Huang.
Don
Huang. H-W-U-A-N-G. Don Huang. At Don Huang, my man. He was quite possibly the most appropriate photographer we could have hired.
No, that was great. It was a fun time. And I was saying, I was greatly appreciative to be a part of that. It definitely, I wasn't able to express it at either of your guys' wedding, how much it actually meant that you guys saw me in that close a way to actually make me a groomsman. So I do greatly appreciate that from you and my boy Hudson.
Oh, of course, man. And again, there is definitely nobody that I would have, no other crew of people that I would have had in my corner other than, you guys. And I get ragged on quite often that, why don't you make Matt one? I was just because then I would have had 4. She would have been all uneven and all that good stuff. But, I felt at the same time, he was that unofficial usher. You don't really have ushers for.
He was still that secret part of the crew. Either way, he was essentially Alex Tucker for his wedding.
Yes, he was the Alex Tucker of his wedding, the 6th man, if you will. And I feel that's what he was. He was that's perfectly described. He was the 6th man of my wedding. Alex Tucker was the 6th man of that wedding, because I remember Alex Tucker driving everybody around, making sure my drunk ass showed up. I remember showing up all sorts of late to Matt's wedding, and I was just yo, my bad. I haven't been out in a while. You let a bear out.
Oh, they were happy for you to be there.
No, I think it's always been fun to have that relationship of knowing Matt and Eric and them before all of that, and then after, and then so on and so forth, and just having that bond, much like ourselves. Shit, I remember the time freshman you came in, I was over here thinking I'm still a rock star playing the bass, and I almost took out the TV over here being all foolishness, So it's fun to have those memories and You know,
you have your embarrassment growing up kind of stories, not like you have like your kid ones. This is the ones where it's like, oh, these ones, oh yeah, fucked up there. It's like, you know, I don't have the excuse that I was just a kid. No, you were like, you're 20. You're 21 right at that point. Oh yeah, I did, wasn't I?
You're a grown-ass man. You're out here acting like that. What's wrong with you? It's like, well, you know what? I took the long road, okay? Don't judge me.
But we are coming on an hour so far for this recording, so we're going to put it to a close. But Dave, if you have anything you want to plug, any social media or anything like that?
No, nothing I really want to plug. More or less just want to kind of reiterate before any of those young filmmakers, young, you know, producers out there that are, you know, trying to do their thing, especially during this time, COVID, please keep going. Don't stop. Keep creating the content. Keep creating content you want to make. Because if it's worthy, people will notice, people will see it. You will get your accolades. You will get all the good things that will come to you. Just please keep chasing those dreams.
Well said. And guys, as I'm sure you know by this point, you can follow me on Twitter at TommyTom88 on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram at TommyTomP88. Dave, enjoyed this conversation.
Likewise, brother. Appreciate the time. Talk soon, my man.
Yep. I will see you guys next time.
Yo, you gotta read between the lines. I'm only gonna be moving when I'm read through all the signs. Johnny mnemonic, I got an upgraded mind. This is for the rebels and their revolutionary minds. Cybernetic linguistics, you know I'm on my mind. Word will tap the new dimension, man, that shit is mine. Future is creation and creation is sublime. Make your own legend, only happens with time.